I don't know about you, but I think we're getting more and more divided. We argue with each other on social media, we fiercely defend our own point of view, and we think of anybody who disagrees with us as somebody who's stupid. We are not simply communicating. The good news is research in human behavior and decision-making have solutions for better communicating so we can get along. How do I know this? Well, I used to get into fierce arguments about climate change on social media all the time. And I thought of anybody who disagreed with me as someone who just doesn't get it. You see, as someone who was trained as a scientist, I could not understand why educated people would accept conspiracy theories even in the face of scientific facts to the contrary. I had to understand what was going on. So I pored over research on human behavior and decision-making. So tonight, I want to share with you some of the lessons that I learned which helped me communicate my point of view without destroying my relationships. Lesson number 1. None of us are as wise as we think we are. In fact, most of our decisions are made through emotion and not wisdom. There's a great metaphor in moral psychology about this, which is an elephant and an elephant rider. The big elephant represents our emotional side, and the tiny rider, our logical side. In my case, when I was defending science, I would get so emotional that I let the elephant take the lead. And instead, I should have been listening to my rider telling me to be patient with people who know less than I do. Which brings me to lesson number 2. Beware of the curse of knowledge. And this is specifically important for those of us with advanced degrees. Because once we learn something, we forget what it is like not to know. Sometimes people disagree with us because sometimes they just don't know. So if you're going to communicate with someone, try to find gaps in their knowledge and fill them. You may be thinking, but you just finished telling us you can't change people's minds with facts. Well, yes, I said that. Some people are open to facts, but most are not. Which brings me to lesson number 2. The value of a fact is in the ear of the beholder. Again, in this case, our elephants are in charge of accepting or rejecting facts. So if we expect someone to listen to a fact, first we need to understand where their passions lie. If a fact violates or jeopardizes the passion and priorities of someone, it will be rejected. So if we're going to communicate with someone who disagrees with us, we need to find common ground between our message and the person receiving the message. For example, if you're going to convince a fiscal conservative to support solar energy, you need to highlight the economic benefits of the technology rather than preaching to them about trees. Not that they hate trees, but they're just more passionate about economic prosperity. So what would the world look like if we all listened to our writers a bit more? Dr. Seuss showed us in his wonderful book, Horton Hears a Who, back in 1954. Horton is an elephant living in the jungle of Noom, where he hears a faint cry for help by a tiny creature called Who, living in a sophisticated city called Whoville, sitting on a speck of dust. Horton promises to save Whoville, so he picks it up and puts it on a soft clover. But the other animals in the jungle thought he was going crazy because they couldn't hear the Who. So they steal the clover from him and try to destroy it. This is when the rest, each and every citizen on Whoville starts screaming from the bottom of their lungs, asking for help. which help the other animals to hear them and join Horton in saving their civilization. So the take-home lesson is that we should all acknowledge the elephant in charge of our lives, because it is only then that we can hear our who's and communicate from a place of understanding. Finally, it is the responsibility of all of us, not just the ones who like to read books, to learn to recognize our own biases so we can be united rather than divided.